Hello, I'm Eric, and I'm a finance manager at a major tech company, and welcome to The Digital Merchant. This is your channel for digital marketing, online business, and growth strategies without the fluff. Today, we're diving into comparison sites like BestMoney and NerdWallet. Which one's better and which one should you use? Let's get into it. So if you've ever tried to shop around for either a loan, a new credit card, a car loan, you've probably found yourself looking at these comparison sites. There's a lot of different options out there. And one of the most popular ones is NerdWallet as well as BestMoney. These are like one of the top comparison sites that you can find out there. And now you're asking yourself, what's the difference between the two? And why should I use one over another? That's the purpose of this video, to break down exactly the pros and cons of using each one and really dive into the differences between the different platforms, so then ultimately you can make the best decision for your specific needs. All right, let's get right into it. We are here on the main page of NerdWallet, and then to the right, I also have the main page of BestMoney. So right up front, the first thing that you can find is they both have similar experiences and vibes to them. One thing that I'll notice right up front is that NerdWallet actually has some AI integration here where you can actually ask questions. That's really cool, very unique. Whereas here, there is no specific AI that I can see right up front. But what you do get is you get an initial, very simple, really great UI to see exactly the different products or things that they could offer. So whether it's car insurance, credit card comparison, life insurance, pet insurance, I mean, they have a lot of different things. We can go ahead and click show more, and they have a lot of variety here of different needs and things like that that you need for your financial purposes. So on this side, you can kind of see something similar. You have your credit cards, your insurance, your mortgage. One thing that stands out to me right away is that they are looking more at like specific categories, whereas BestMoney is more about specific types of products. So for example, just as an example, you have debt consolidation, whereas NerdWallet doesn't necessarily have debt consolidation here, but what they do have is more like personal loans or banking, right? Like, I mean, actually banking would be different because this is more high yield savings accounts, but you can kind of understand, right? They have it more of a different way of approaching it. One is more category based, and the other one is more product based. Like, hey, these are all the different products that we can compare for. So I think from my standpoint, this is a little bit more straightforward, because usually if you're coming to one of these sites, what you want to do is identify like what your need is. So let's say that for me, it's car insurance. Like I want to be able to just go straight to car insurance. Here you have insurance, right? And then you don't know if it just means car insurance or home insurance. So it's like, I think that the categories is great, and they probably encompass a lot of different things. Whereas here, you know exactly what you need. You can just go straight to it, right? I need credit cards, you go straight to credit cards. I need investments, you can go straight to investments. I think this one actually already also has like an investments thing. Let's see. Yeah, you have an investing here. So they have similarities, but you can kind of see right up front kind of one of the main differences. What I really do like about NerdWallet is that it has this AI feature. I haven't tried it personally, but I think that's very unique and something I haven't really seen in a lot of sites. So that's great to see. Now, if we scroll down, they initially have a why millions trust NerdWallet, kind of giving their stats and some of the partners that they have. BestMoney, if we scroll down, they also have a similar approach. They show all of their top brands, trusted brands, and then kind of why to use BestMoney. Right up front, when you start going down, you start to see kind of your loans and your insurance. I think those are kind of the main things that people typically look at. And then as we scroll down, you'll have your editorial picks. Let's keep going. It helps you make the decisions. It's kind of similar to what you saw here. And then BestMoney Besties. Let's see what else we got. Credit cards, personal loans. These are kind of like articles. Pet insurance, car insurance. So you kind of have articles based on all the different categories and product offerings. Where here, let's see what we got. News that impacts your wallet. So this is more news-based, which is pretty unique. Find smarter rates today. This one goes straight into like savings, banking, and then mortgages. And then let's see what else we got. 3.9. You have all the different categories, credit cards. They have an app. And then that's pretty much it. So you can see they're pretty similar in terms of what they offer. This one actually has a little bit of less going on in the main page. It's more simple. I'd say BestMoney has a little bit more detail, more options, and more things to click right up front, which really up to you what you're looking for. But I do think that there's value to both. Now, when you're using these sites, you really want to make sure that you can trust the things that they're recommending to you. And so that's why transparency with both of these sites on who their affiliated programs, like who they're affiliated with, who the partnerships are with, all those things really do matter. At least to me, it builds the trust that we have with these sites. And so I actually found here this is what I could initially find between the two on how they have their disclosures of advertisers. And so right up front, if I go to NerdWallet, and I actually can look it up here and say like about us, just to make sure that we're looking at the same thing, because BestMoney has an about us. Initially, I really don't find much except our partners. So it seems like it's missing a little bit more background. Maybe I'm not looking good enough, but at initial glance, all I could find was this advertiser disclosure, which is a 3-paragraph of, hey, we're an independent publisher, a comparison service, and not an investment advisor. They're kind of, giving the typical disclosures. And then they have their list of partners and how they make money. So basically our partners compensate us. And so of course that influences which products they review and write about. But in no way does it affect our recommendations or advice. So they're grounded on thousands of hours of research. And so you can click here and you'll find the list of all of their partners that they have across the different categories. Now, on the BestMoney side, and I was taking a look at this, it seems a little bit more in depth. So first it talks about, BestMoney and what they're all about, right? So they're backed by Natural Intelligence, which is a recognized innovator in consumer comparison platforms. They talk about their mission. They go a little bit into their story. They have their core values, which of course, number 2 is transparency. I think that's super important. Accessibility. They show a little bit about their team, what makes BestMoney a reliable resource. So all these different things I think are a little bit more in depth, their commitment, and then a little bit about their editorial standards. So I'll read this one really briefly. Our content is built on an editorial process designed to deliver guidance you can rely on. Every review and comparison is shaped by layers of research and oversight. And so they go into data gathering, they evaluate from financial specialists, they do industry trend analysis, and they have clear scoring methodologies. And so they kind of make sure to fact check everything before they go through. Now, how we make money, I think this is what we're all here for. BestMoney is an advertising supported comparison platform. And so they earn commission from partners when you or I click the certain affiliated links and sign up for products. And so that's typically how they get paid. And so let's see what else we got. We value transparency. The compensation we receive from partners may influence the placement, order, and scoring of the companies presented on our site. However, we do our best to provide users with a wide variety of options and information to help them make the decision that is best for them. And so they really kind of break down a little bit more in detail, I would say, versus NerdWallet. You have a kind of a support email here, the recognition, the different partners that they have here. And then, what else do we have? How to find deals or lower rates with BestMoney. And it kind of goes into a bit more detail here. One thing I will note, I'm trying to look into this now, is it seems like it could affect their scoring, which is what I wanted to see here. So it says the compensation we receive may influence the placement, order, and scoring of the companies. Whereas here, it says that no way does it affect our recommendation or advice. So that's something to keep in mind. It seems like one is more swayed to the other versus, in what they recommend in the scoring, which is something to keep in mind. But what I do like about BestMoney is that they're super transparent about it, right? They tell you up front, hey, this is what we're doing. They show you the team. They give you a bit more detail. So that's also super nice to see. And you can even reach out to them, which in terms of NerdWallet, I didn't really see that. Now, talking about the different methodologies that they're using for their scoring, they actually have a whole page on how they rate and select top debt consolidation loans or debt settlement companies. So let's actually break that down between the two and see, how the different star ratings happen. So we'll start with NerdWallet. Initially, you have this, hey, this is how we determine the star ratings. This is their methodologies, number of products and providers, and how many years of editorial experience, 800 plus. If we go here, I don't see those similar kind of stats that you saw in the other one, but it's still, let's keep on going. So NerdWallet star ratings are the product of ongoing research of different writers and editors with hundreds of years combined experience. They follow very strict editorial guidelines, which I'm sure we could click on later. And then these are the different methodologies that they use based on the category. Whereas BestMoney, here, this one's specific to debt consolidation, so I might be on the wrong section. I'll have to dig into that one. But here you can see, like, let's just go into this category. Maybe let's do this. Let's go to the debt consolidation. I don't know if they have debt consolidation per se. They have personal loans, they have student loans. So that's something right up front actually that I'm noticing, is that I don't see a debt consolidation specific category in the NerdWallet at initial glance, where BestMoney does kind of maybe isolate on that. So that's one kind of competitive advantage that I see right up front with BestMoney in terms of their product offerings. Now, I'm technically you have your loans, so you could argue that, hey, you could get like a personal loan in a way to do a debt consolidation, but oh yeah, here you see best debt consolidation loan. So you technically do have it, but it seems to be more hidden, whereas with BestMoney, it kind of isolates it right up front. Something to keep in mind. Let's see if we can find, go to personal loans, and I will just go with this. So they break down the different ratings for the personal loans. They do it based 25% on affordability, customer experience. So this UI is really great. You can kind of see it in a pie chart to identify what that looks like and how it breaks down. Let's see, you have your review team. Now if we go here, you don't have that same UI experience, but you do kind of go into a lot of in-depth analysis as to how it's happening. So let's see, they review each category on a scale of 1 to 10 based on their performance against the detailed criteria. Let's see, we have, okay, so the criteria is really availability, rates and fees, user experience, customer service. Whereas NerdWallet, it's basically based on, the customer experience is the same. Availability, we have affordability, okay, loan flexibility, discretionary, not weighted. Okay, rates and fees, I guess, is the affordability, I would assume. Oh, flexibility is right here, loan flexibility, similar to availability, I'm guessing. Let's see, does the company offer debt assistance and how many state? Oh, okay, so it's different. It's a little bit different. So this one's more about how available is it, and I guess it's how inclusive is it. Does it have variety? Whereas in this case, loan flexibility, it says how flexible lenders can be with borrowers, whether they offer. So it's somewhat similar in category, but slightly different in terms of what they're looking at. The rates and fees, which I guess is affordability, and of course you have your customer service and your user experience. I don't see, oh yeah, customer experience. So they kind of have similar ways of tracking it. I do like how it kind of presents it here in the different visual. It's definitely easier to digest. And then you have your disclaimers here based on public available data, expert evaluations, and customer feedback. We recommend obtaining personalized codes. Okay, let's see, to ensure accuracy. So that's pretty much it. And then you kind of have your editorial reviews here, where you can take a look at like, hey, Freedom Debt, how does it look? And they kind of go into depth. Here is your kind of scoring system and explaining why. You kind of have here a little bit more visuals, which is great to see. You can kind of compare versus one here. Let's see if we can find one right up front. Let's see if this one would work. Top 5 reasons to get a personal loan. So you kind of have this. I was trying to see if you could easily find an editorial review in here, but I guess technically one of these are. But let me see, editorial review. Okay, so here you got one to kind of compare to. So you have your pros and cons. You have this. So here's kind of this visual. So you can kind of understand it. They have very similar ways of displaying the information, which is nice. They're all very nice UI. I do really appreciate how they both look, actually. So I don't really have a preference between the two in this case. All right, now I actually want to break down a specific example. Like, let's assume that we're going and we're trying to get a credit card, because I think that's one that's pretty consistent between the two. So I'm going to go to credit card here. Or actually, let's start from the beginning here. Let's go here. Let's assume, hey, we're going to go look for credit cards. We click credit cards. And what do we got? So we have the best credit cards of June of 2026, Chase Freedom Unlimited. You have all these different credit cards that show up. Now, first thing, what do they show? They show the annual fee, the rewards, cashback, what the offer is, the credit score that you might need. You have a little bit of a breakdown here, the card details, and their take. So that's basically what it shows. And then I guess you could apply now and it would take you directly to that link. You can kind of compare a bunch of different ones directly here as you scroll down. That's kind of the idea. Now let's compare, and you can kind of select here before I even go. You can select based on different categories. So whether you want a better sign-up bonus, whether it's a travel credit card, you can kind of look that directly here. This is really cool. This is a great way to kind of categorize it. Now if we go to BestMoney, let's go to the main page. We select credit cards to the right, click right here. And right up front, you kind of have your same categories actually. You have a little bit of a summary here. And you can select, let's say that we want cashback or travel. So very similar experience. It tells you how many people have actually chosen this card with BestMoney. That's pretty cool. And then you actually have your editorial reviews right here to the right. If we look at the actual view here, you have your welcome bonus, you have your rewards, you have your fee, you have the credit card score, or your credit score, sorry, your APR. So very similar information actually across the board. I like that it kind of gives you right up front kind of the breakdown between the two. Does this one give us so you have the NerdWallet take, but I don't see the direct scoring right up front. You have this 5 stars, but it doesn't really break down how that looks like unless you click on it. Whereas BestMoney seems to kind of break it down right up front. That's something that I really like, because you can actually see, hey, like what are the pros and cons while staying on the same page. I think that's definitely something good. You have your card features, you have your pros and cons similar to here. I'm thinking, am I missing something? Is there anything else? You go here. Yeah, you would have to kind of scroll through to find kind of the detailed review. So something to consider. Our pick for simple travel reward, our all-around card. So this one is kind of, I find that it's almost easier to kind of to see this. I almost didn't even see this at the top because I'm so focused on the main page here. In terms of UI, I do think, I do think this one looks a little bit more aesthetic, but in the end, I don't like that you have to kind of click around to find what the rating breaks down into. I like that here you can right away see what the editorial review looks like and why, hey, it's 9.8 and kind of what that looks like for you. So that's something to keep in mind, at least for this specific example, of the pros and cons between the two platforms, which I think is important. If we keep scrolling down, let's see what we have. What are the different types of credit cards? So it actually gives you some information here as to the different types that you can look at. You have a nice chart here, our table, and then which features should I look like for a good credit card. So it actually has a lot of information here, especially if you're new and you're just starting out getting into credit cards. This is really cool that you can kind of break that down and get some information. If I scroll all the way down, do you have something similar? Do you have a record bonus offer? This is cool. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Here you can kind of see the same thing. What's news in this week in credit cards? Yeah, this is more news related. I do like that it seems this is better for like when you're starting out and you can actually view what that looks like and get a little bit more information all in one place. I do really like that in terms of BestMoney, whereas NerdWallet, you don't really have that as much. You do have these articles or this news stuff, but it really just goes straight into the cards without having that at the bottom. So I guess you can click here. Let's see, read more. Okay, you kind of have this. Okay, so you technically do have it at the top, some more information, but I don't think it provides this level of detail here. So again, very, very similar between the two. They really do offer similar things, but I think that in this case, I would prioritize having that editorial review right up front. I think that's very unique. So that's one thing. And then the other thing, again, is if you're looking for something very specific like debt consolidation, I do like that it kind of goes straight into this and allows you to select how much debt you have and get your rate. Let's see if we compare something like that here. We go to, see, I have to kind of like figure out, okay, which one is it? So it's loans. Let's do student loans, or sorry, personal loans. And then you have to kind of see here, let's see, just click the best consolidation. And so you can kind of do the exact same thing, choose how much the loan is, and then you have your APR, your loan term. We go here, you don't actually have the APR or the loan term right up front, which is something to think about. So you can click here and actually takes you to the page, and then I guess you can kind of start answering the questions. But I do like that NerdWallet provides it right up front, what the different APR could be and the minimum credit score and the pros and cons. So that's something that for sure NerdWallet has BestMoney be in, just at first glance. So in short, that pretty much covers the comparison, just a brief and quick overview of what they offer between the two and which one you should use. Ultimately, the decision is up to you. I think both have their pros and cons. I do believe that BestMoney kind of tailors and is more simple in a way. You can go in and you can kind of isolate exactly what you're looking for, and you have all that information right up front. Whereas NerdWallet is great. It seems like a huge ecosystem of different product offerings, and they do have a lot of the same things. So ultimately, it boils down to what you prefer, what you see value in. But hopefully this video was a little bit more informative for you to understand, hey, which one should I use between the two platforms? I personally would even suggest looking at both, right? It doesn't hurt you. It takes you a little bit more time to kind of look at, like maybe you spend an extra 10, 15 minutes and you look at both and you see what they have to offer. Maybe one of them will offer something better than the other. So it's something to consider before you make the final decision on whether it's a credit card, personal loan, or any financial decision, because typically it's a big decision. And so you want to make sure you have all the different options available to you right up front. Well, that covers it. I'm your digital merchant. Subscribe for more no fluff insights. Stay digital and stay profitable. See you next time.